Tomorrow, President Biden will formally announce his plan to withdraw all American troops from Afghanistan by the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks, which would finally bring the longest war in U.S. history to a close. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut is a member of the Committee on Foreign Relations, and he joins me now. First of all, your reaction to this news.
It's the right move. It's a recognition of facts on the ground. It's a recognition that arguably our mission in Afghanistan was accomplished a decade ago. We went to Afghanistan in order to take out the Taliban, to remove the ability of al-Qaeda to use that space as training territory and operating territory through which they could plan attacks on the United States. And what our counterterrorism officials tell us today is that, well, al-Qaeda is not completely gone from Afghanistan. They're down to, maybe 200, 300 fighters, and that they no longer have the ability to use Afghanistan to plan large-scale attacks against the United States. What we've been engaged in really over the last decade has been nation building. We have been working with the Afghan government to clear the Taliban out, to put the Afghan government in charge of the security of that nation. We've given them every opportunity to be able to stand up their own defenses and their own governance structure. And I think at this point, we have to recognize that, if we were to stay for another 15 years, we likely wouldn't be able to completely rid that country of the Taliban. But having accomplished the main goal, which is degrading al-Qaeda to the point that they cannot attack the United States directly again from Afghanistan, it's time to bring our men and women home.
There's a split, an interesting split among Republicans I saw interviewed today. Folks like Lindsey Graham, very angry and upset at this news. Others with more equanimity, Mitt Romney saying he was sort of not sure. Others saying, yeah. Ted Cruz, I think, saying basically it's time to bring him home. Do you think pressure, political pressure, or pressure from the Pentagon, which has successfully, let's be honest, rolled administration after administration on this question, is going to build in advance of this actual withdrawal?
Well, I think that this is no surprise to those of us who have watched Joe Biden over the years. Open reporting tells us that during the Obama administration, then Vice President Biden was arguing for a more precipitous withdrawal of American forces because as a senator, Joe Biden had, watched Afghanistan very closely and knew that general after general had come up to Capitol Hill and told us that we just needed one more year. We just needed 2 more years, that the Afghan government, the Afghan military were so close to being able to take over and control things on their own. And of course, that never came to fruition. In fact, the Taliban used the American presence there as recruiting fodder. And our presence there, in fact, was elongating the conflict, not bringing it to a more precipitous close. So I don't know that Joe Biden is going to be dissuaded. I think he's been of this opinion for a long time that we needed to bring this war to an end.
1 to 10, how sure are you this is going to happen?
10. Again, I just...
there's a certain loosening the football quality here. I mean, I'm 42 years old. I've watched this for 20 years. I've reported on it for, however long, probably 16, 17 years I've reported on Afghanistan and possible withdrawal with Afghanistan. And is the government, yada, yada. So I feel like I'll believe it when I see it, but you're close enough to this administration, and I think have your finger enough on the pulse. If you say you see this as an actual thing that's happening, that means something.
Well, I think it's happening because this president is committed to the policy in a personal way, but also because, he faces an array of threats that require a reorientation.
Right.
I mean, just this weekend, we have seen unprecedented saber rattling from the Chinese in and around Taiwan. We have Russian forces mustering on the border of Ukraine. We obviously have a number of new security threats in Africa and the Middle East. Right now, we need to put our focus, our money, our resources where the most present threats to the United States exist. And right now, they just aren't in Afghanistan.
You have been a very outspoken supporter of the Iran nuclear deal, of getting back into it. Republicans and the Trump administration hated the deal, left it, and Netanyahu and the Israeli government under Netanyahu has hated it, has been very clear about hating it. There was a blackout attack on the Natanz nuclear enrichment site in Iran a few days ago. A power failure that appeared to have been caused by deliberately planned explosions struck the Natanz uranium enrichment site on Sunday in what Iranian officials called an act of sabotage they suggested had been carried out by Israel. Obviously, Israel neither confirms nor denies this. I think it's widely viewed as likely something they did. Does this feel like an attempt to sabotage the just starting talks between the U.S. government and Iran?
Well, I can't speak to responsibility for this action. What I can say is this. It is additional proof that there is no military pathway to divorcing Iran from a nuclear weapon. This attack, whoever carried it out, resulted in Iran making a decision to move even further forward with their nuclear research program, getting closer to the breakout time to a nuclear weapon. And so it is just more confirmation that no matter how many different novel ways you try to attack their program, it is not going to divorce them from a pathway to a weapon. It is only diplomacy that is going to force the Iranians into a different disposition and posture. So I think the Iranians know that this administration is serious about getting back into the JCPOA. I think time is ticking here. The Iranian elections are coming up. We, I think, have a short window to get back into compliance and force the Iranians back into compliance. A number of senators, about 27 of us, sent a letter to the administration recommending this compliance for compliance approach. And I hope that we're going to see the JCPOA come back into effect very soon. It would be very, very important for the security of the region and the world.
Isn't the well irredeemably poisoned?
With respect to what?
To Iran. I mean, they struck a deal. We walked away from it. Then, you know, their nuclear scientists are getting whacked left and right under the rules-based international order. Like, come on.
No, and listen, I think, all throughout the world, we are having trouble sort of recommitting our friends and adversaries to a diplomatic path because, they worry about what comes next. This sort of seesaw of American foreign policy makes it really hard for anybody to enter into a negotiation with the United States. But, the sanctions that have been put on Iran are serious. They are crippling, and they are a mechanism to get them back to the table. So, no, I think there's still a pathway to get back into this agreement.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.